Okay, you should. Yeah, okay, that thing is the little circle thing. All right, so you should be able to hear me. Sorry for my voice sounding a bit gruff. Hopefully you don't hear my stomach rumble because I'm starving and I'm not gonna eat until probably about 2 p.m. So I just had a question, really. Um, what starts off this question? There's this channel on YouTube called the American Indian Defense League, where it's basically a bunch of like actual true Native Americans who are, um, they're sick and tired of these. They call them wabos. I've been calling them abos and abotards for about maybe about 6 years. But you have these people that are trying to essentially steal their identity, claim that they are the quote unquote true Black Native American and this, that, and the other, right? Um, Over my years on YouTube, because I do have another channel, um, I used to debate with a particular one and a few others as well about this topic. Really, just how ridiculous it is, because what I've noticed is that it usually is between Americans only, and then like the Native Americans and stuff like that, rather than encompassing the whole diaspora until you bring it up, and then they go, "Oh yeah, you guys too," type of thing. So it really doesn't involve the rest of the diaspora. It usually just pertains to Americans. But my question is, because apparently with this morning stream with American Indian Defense League, you had a Nigerian, a Yoruba person that was going up on the panel and trying to, I guess, deny the transatlantic slave trade, or really heavily dismiss it. And it's not the first time that I've heard. I use Discord, so there are people on Discord that I've come across. Like there was I think, was he from Cameroon? I think the guy was from Cameroon. Michael, I don't know if you remember when we was in that other server before. I don't know if you're still in there. I left, but there was someone else that was in there, that was basically denying slavery and saying that basically Black Americans do not descend from Africa. And I guess you'd say like, well, why do you care, type of thing. But again, if you're gonna make that statement, you can't ignore the rest of African descendants within the Americas. But it makes me really question, like, if Africans are pushing this, it's like, what's the purpose? I don't understand why would, and I'm not saying all, but it really does shock me. I think he was from Cameroon, Michael. I think he was from Cameroon, that guy. I can't even remember what his name was on Discord anymore, but it's like, what do you gain from, as an African, a continental African, what do you gain from um pushing like the denial of slavery? Like, what is that about? How you doing, Mr. Uganda? It doesn't make sense. Is this an attempt to sort of distance yourselves from the diaspora? Is this a trolling thing? Like, I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. But again, like I said, it's one thing for Americans. I feel like they're a complete different case when it comes to this, and it's a whole set of confusion that I'm not qualified, and I'm not really interested in trying to address it per se. But again, if you're going to talk about the transatlantic slave trade, and if you're going to deny it, that doesn't just pertain to people in the US. You have to talk about people in Mexico, all the way down to, well, I mean, the Afro Argentinians, I don't think they really exist anymore. But, the entire Americas, you have to include them as well. But I mean, guys, I don't know if you guys in the chat would understand. I mean, both of you are continentals. So I don't understand, like, what is there to gain from this? Why would Africans now start denying the slave trade? And then, like, Michael, you were saying that he was um shitting on Brazil and kind of denying that Brazilian culture has any, like, it has no influence, or that it doesn't qualify because it's not as influential as American culture. Like, I just don't understand how that's going to make sense. I even questioned, what do they again? Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, what do you gain from saying that? To me, it doesn't make sense. What do you get from saying that? So you deny it, and like, is this to avoid culpability, some perceived culpability of it? Like, what's the point? And again, it really, this conversation, it usually applies to the US, but again, you can't discount Afro Caribbean people and people in South America. You can't do that. You can't deny it. He made Brazil. Yeah, exactly. That's what happens, because when I used to debate with these people a few years ago, what they would always do is America, and America, and America, and America, and transatlantic slave trade, and I'll go. I said, okay, okay. So you say transatlantic slave trade? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, let's be honest here. Most people didn't go directly to America. You went to the Caribbean and South America, and were probably brought up to North America, because there were certain islands and places that were made for breaking people before you would go up. So then, what do you have to say about that? And then it's like, oh well, yeah, yeah, our people down in the Caribbean and South America too. They're indigenous too. Yeah, it's always an afterthought. It's always an afterthought, because then it doesn't stand. It can't stand unless you're gonna say then that there's no connection there, like, whatsoever. You know. But it is disgusting. It is disgusting. But dealing with these Wabo Aboriginals, indigitards, that's my favorite one. I call them indigitards or abotards. Dealing with these people, you see that they're usually not mentally well. They can't be questioned. They have like really serious and deep issues. But it's like it's really undeniable. And the Caribbean and South America is a very, very hard topic to get by. You can't bypass it if you're going to try and deny slavery. It's just not possible. Like I said, unless you're going to say that we're completely unrelated. In which sense, okay, fine, you can say that, then okay, well, we're just two different peoples, and that's cool. But then that still doesn't wipe away the transatlantic slave trade, because we were affected, or our ancestors, I should say, were affected by the transatlantic slave trade as well. Oh, how you doing? That's nice. Well, yeah, it's just a question. I don't know if that's going to become a thing, if that's going to spread amongst like, I guess, Westerners. I'm sure people in Africa are not even thinking about this. They have more important things to think about. But amongst, like, I guess, like, Westernized or Africans in the West who are born and raised in the West, and in America in particular, because I haven't heard this in the UK. And because we like to copycat American culture and American talking points, I do worry, are we gonna suddenly start denying slavery on our end, which would be ridiculous. But I really hope that this doesn't infect Africans in America, because I can't get it. I noticed how he skipped over the populations of Africans in South America is more than North America. See, I'm waiting for this thing to upload. I really want to see it, because it was at they start at 4 a.m. and I set my alarm for 4, and I heard it ringing. I had my, because you can link your Spotify to your alarm. So I had like my Spotify, one of my playlists, like, as my alarm tone, just ringing and ringing, and the music was playing, and I didn't want to get up. I did go to bed early, but I don't know, I just didn't want to get up. I was so tired. Yeah, and that's the other part that I don't get, that if you're Nigerian and he's Yoruba, it's like I don't understand how you can rubbish it. When you look at the influence and the syncretization of certain aspects of Yoruba culture, especially in Latin America, it's undeniable. And like I said in the server as well, when it comes to places like Trinidad where they still practice Orisha, it's like I don't understand how you can try and say that what the Africans have gone there, I guess thousands of years ago, which would say then that the culture has just been static. It hasn't evolved whatsoever, which obviously is not true. But this just doesn't make sense. It's obvious. I mean, you see, it's like, it's really stupid. It's really, really stupid. I can't even articulate how stupid it is. But it just doesn't make sense. What is there to benefit? I don't get it. I don't know. I really, really don't know. I'm just waiting for this thing. But guys, if you check out American Indian Defense League and you can like listen to actual Native Americans basically destroy and ridicule these people who try to steal their culture, steal their identities, deny them that they are actual, indigenous to America and whatnot. And you'll see the types of crazy people that spew all this mad rhetoric that has been spreading. It's just insane. It's really, really insane. How you doing, anti-socialite? He started questioning of slavery was that bad. Yeah, well, I mean, if slavery was that bad, Michael, I mean, was he trolling? Like, did he sound like he was trolling, or was he serious? That this is because that just doesn't like I don't understand that what kind of angle that this person is coming from. And I had a look on their channel, and they're giving me kind of like um I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I don't want to call the wrong term. Is it like those right wing? I don't know. Maybe MGTOWish vibes. Like I just go up when I can just see certain things. Like my stomach just tells me like this is right. This person's not right. This is where they're coming from. Type of thing. I've only had a glance at the channel. I haven't clicked on any videos, and I don't really intend to. But to question if slavery was that bad again, like as a continental African, I don't understand what do you have to gain from questioning it? Why deny it? Why are you trying to rubbish it? Why are you trying to downplay it? I mean, if you want to talk about cruelty and things like this, it's like I mean, you could just read the Diary of Thomas Thistlewood if you really want to understand certain levels of brutality and just depravity that these people were doing to other people. I thought he was trolling, but he said that. Wait, I thought he was trolling, but he said all that rubbish with conviction. Like he believed. Yeah, I mean, but he could just be. I don't get it. What would there be to gain? That's a troll. Like you can't. Not to say that we could ever really imagine how cruel it was either, because obviously we didn't experience it. But when you have diaries of things that people were doing, it's like I don't understand it. Some people could really bullshit you. I mean, look at what scam artists do. Scam artists will really have you believing that they believe in what they're selling to you. So I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to determine that when the stream is re-uploaded, because I started watching it, but then the thing said like, "Oh, this video is private," and then it just cut the video off, and I was like, "Ah, shit." Only got like 4 minutes in before it. I think like the first guest, that Rob guy, and then it cut off. The buffoonery is at an all-time high in 2020. Well, I mean, this is something that's been going on for years. I don't know how long it is, how long it's been like going on for years and stuff, but definitely like when I was 17, when I really started like debating on YouTube and stuff like that and talking to these people, and it really did shock me that this concept is out there that denies what took place. But I will say that as people in the Caribbean and South America, it's very, very, very hard for you to claim that you're indigenous to the region unless you're actually indigenous. If you're Afro Caribbean, or I guess Afro Latina, it's very, very hard to deny it. But I will say, I guess, like for those in South America, they're probably way more mixed. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I'll put the link if anyone wants to join. I don't know. I just wanted to keep it brief. But my question is again, like, what do continental Africans have to gain from either denying slavery, downplaying it, or claiming that I guess, us in the diaspora are indigenous to the Americas, or those in America are indigenous to the US? He's talking about how documents could have been altered, but the but the panel kept telling him about the archival. I mean, I've got documents. Let me see if I can bring some of them up. Hold on, because this is what I was going to Richmond for about, I don't know how many years I was going back and forth to Richmond. But if you're in the UK, if you just go down to Kew Gardens, you take the district line to Kew Gardens. No, is it Kew Garden Station? I think it is Kew Garden Station on the district line, and walk down Buchanan Gardens. Literally, just walk down Buchanan Gardens, cross over at the traffic lights, and just keep walking down. You've got the National Archives right there. You can go and get the books yourselves. You can go order the documents yourselves. And I mean, if these are fake conducted, they're very, very good. Let me see if I can bring some up. Give me 1 second. Right, let's see. Because that's another thing that they used to do as well. Like when I would debate these people, it's like, oh, primaries, where's your primaries? And so I would bring the documents up. Even Michael, I don't know if you remember when we was debating with one with on Officer's channel, and we were debating with this guy on Officer's channel, and he was like, "Oh, primary documents, where's your documents?" And I sent them to Officer's email, and when Officer like brought them up, all of a sudden it was crickets. There was nothing to be said afterwards. I mean, this is how you defeat these people. And then when you ask them for primary documents, all they send you is Google links. So let me bring these up. I have a good few hundred more pictures. Like you can literally just go into the archives, get shit, what they call it is a reading card. It's free, and all you have to do, it's best to get there early, honestly. Order your documents in advance through the National Archives website. Get what you want. Write down the references. He said the pyramids were in the great. No, he's trolling because that's all of what these. Either he's not Nigerian, because I was questioning whether or not he's really Nigerian, but either he's not Nigerian or he's trolling badly. So let me. Is it this one? All right, share screen. All right, so as you can see, all right, so that's like I started to transcribe some of these documents, but I'm not trying to be funny. People's handwriting from way back then was really, really shit. They had horrible handwriting, and it's a nightmare to try and transcribe it. I have some transcribed documents in my Google Drive. I don't know if I'll ever go back into trying to transcribe because really it's very time consuming. It's a lot of work. No, that guy officer debated that wait, no, that guy that officer debated, the Nigerian didn't say that. But I mean, as you can see here, all right, let's zoom in. I see. I got lazy. Life gets in the way. You can't always go to the archives as you want. But if people want to deny it, it's like, does that say chains? These are all costs. These are all equipment costs. Because what I wanted to do as well, they say like, oh, no slave ships, no proof of anything. This was slavery was a business. It wasn't based on race, as people want to make it seem to be. Like it wasn't just oh, you're a different race, let me enslave you. This was all economic. This was business. And so when you go to the National Archives in the UK, you're gonna have all of these different oh shit, what's the word? Like accounting books for all the equipment, all these different things that they needed in order to carry this business out. But there you go, in London, 26th of September, 1662. These are physical documents that I held. I had to take the picture. You got to wear gloves. You have to be very, very careful with these documents. Like these books, when you open them, they crack. They make a sound when you touch these books. Like this is not bullshit. These are real, legit documents. There you go. Let's see if we can read this one. I had to take all these damn pictures. A something book, something. What does I say? This one says 1722. Wait, what does it say? November 1722. I say something home 1727. Like this is real stuff. Oh, hold on. How you doing, Chima? Chima? We'll give him a second. Oh, okay, he's gone. Damn. You got the difficult client. It's cool, miss. You getting that. When I used to work for one of those high street banks in head office, and for some reason they like hybrid our role into taking calls as well. I like difficult customers. I used to enjoy them, especially when they start swearing at you and then they want to make complaints. And you're just so calm. I remember I had this guy telling me I had a shit attitude, and I was so calm on the phone. I just told him like what the facts were, and then he wanted to make a complaint, and it just made me happy because his complaint wasn't upheld because obviously I wasn't rude to him. But yeah, them difficult customers, boy, especially first thing in the morning, it's not the best. Let me see what else. Right, let's see. As you can see, their handwriting was horrific back then. Bunce Island. Yep. Is that Is that Bunce Island? I think it says Bunce Island. 1722. Yeah, I think it says 1722. Oh, God, the handwriting is terrible. Something about delivered. Again, I would really have to put the effort into trying to transcribe these, but you know, deny the documents all you like. They're there. These books exist. What it is, they count on stupid people to not do their research and do the simple thing of going outside of their house and asking for documents. How you
Hey,
doing?
what's going? Hey, what's going on? Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I'm like just to let you know, I don't have very long because my shift's about to start in a few minutes.
Okay, no problem. That's cool. What did you want to say?
Yeah, um, for those of you who don't know, I was actually on the American Indian Defense League stream earlier this morning. And the guy, and at first, the guy seemed like when he first came on, the guy seemed like he knew his stuff. He was talking about. He sounded like he wanted to talk about how African Americans overcome a lot. He was saying that he was saying that African Americans had the highest standard of living and among all African people out there. Then he was starting to go like and then he just it was just like he was starting to talk talk about how much Africans look. He's like like then he was starting to go on a ramble about how we as black people love white people, this and that, so much that that we want to be that we just want to be around them. He was basically I I kept like and then he you know what I'm saying.
See, I'm really struggling to believe that this guy is Nigerian. Like Michael's saying that he's Yoruba, and I'm finding that very, very hard to believe. Like it sounds ridiculous
Um, to be honest, the other guys on the panel were starting to question that also.
because that just doesn't sound real. It doesn't make sense that someone would be saying something like that. And like you can even see on the screen, right? Senegal, the 13th of November, 1764. These are actual documents, but it's when Africans themselves are trying to deny it. It's like I can't understand that. I question if he's really Yoruba, because you would do your research and you would ask questions. Like this is not this isn't really a question. But again, this person was really focused on the US, right? They're not really talking about the rest of the diaspora.
Nah, like and after he started saying all I mean, like he was saying that come to we all just want to come to America. Then all, he was basically ignoring like how America got its wealth in the first place and how Africa even lost its wealth in the first place and all that. Because someone who's usually from Africa would usually talk about that. Because I talk about it all the time, and Michael talks about it all the time. I'm pretty sure Mr. Uganda talks about it all the time. And and then and then all of a sudden he started talking about, oh, you see, oh, they say that there are millions of Africans that were shipped to the Americas. That 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 doesn't like that number does these numbers don't add up. How were they able to send millions of Africans to the Americas? This and that.
Well, by boat. How do you think that? How do you think Europeans got there? And that's another thing that I don't understand with this denial. It's like, okay, so you want to deny that you can't, that it's not possible to ship people across the ocean at that time in wooden ships. Well, then how did other people get there then? For goodness sake, you have Indians, Indonesians, Chinese descendants from hundreds of years ago in the Western Hemisphere. How do you think they got there? Granted, they're not
Like,
in, well, I'll say the Indians are in a much larger number than the other smaller groups, but I mean, it's not impossible. It's very, very possible to do. How do you think they got there?
well, where he was also getting at was he was like he he keeps saying he finds it impossible that Africans are so weak that they'll just let their people be sold off in the millions like that. You think it's
Jesus
that? It's like, does he think that it's that simple?
Christ. See, that's someone that doesn't know what they're talking about. And maybe that's just what it is. Maybe they are Nigerian and they just don't know what the hell they're talking about. Because a lot of the time when you speak to people, they really don't understand like the dynamics of what took place in the transatlantic slave trade. Maybe they don't want to, acknowledge the fact that, hey, maybe your ancestor committed a crime. Maybe, they were in debt to somebody, and this is just what happened. These were those days. It was a different time, and that was acceptable for back then. We're maybe putting our lens of today on it and saying, oh, they this, that, and the third. Like, but to deny it, I just I can't get with it. Yeah,
And
Ocean Yemi.
and
Yeah, they're saying that they debunk slavery. This maybe only applies to the U.S., but like I said, even my profile picture, right? And I like this for a very specific reason because it makes it undeniable. If people in the Caribbean, if you know your stuff, if you know your culture and your history and why we do certain things and why we have certain costumes and so on and so forth, if you see my profile picture and you recognize it, you know what this is for and you know where it comes from.
oh
This
yeah, oh yeah,
oh, go
my
ahead.
favorite. Oh, sorry about that. Oh yeah, my favorite part was when he said, "If there are this many black people in the Americas, Africans were somehow voluntarily coming to sail into the Americas before Columbus." That was that was my favorite part of the conversation.
Okay, my question would be, but how? Because from what I understand, there wasn't really a big, you know, boat building culture or industry in West Africa, from what I understand. And also as well, not just West Africa, but people in Central Africa. Like you have a lot of people that come from the Congo region as well. So it all sounds nice, but where's the proof? They like to talk about, oh, we have the evidence, we know this, we know that. Where's the proof of that?
I mean, he. To be honest, he didn't really bring any proof. Like, he. I mean, you know how people often say Mansa Musa, Mali Empire had this big ass navy or whatnot, but what people don't tend to understand that what man what what these African nations have, these were powered ships. They're not capable of making transoceanic transoceanic voyages.
Yeah, I didn't think that they were. I know that they were like, small boats, but definitely not capable of transatlantic. And I mean, even Chima, do you remember Chief Holiday when I used to
Oh
debate him?
yeah, oh yeah, that
Yeah,
dickhead.
yeah, because he said to me one time like, oh, we was all one big black happy family in the whole world, and
What?
we would just be sailing across to go visit each other. And it's like, did you think that at one point the ocean was calm, like it was just a lake? Like, what did you think that this was? The ocean is rough, it's always been rough. The Atlantic, that's no joke.
Nah,
Hold on a second. Ocean Yemi, what Queen Quet? Are you talking about the Gullah lady, right? What did she say? Samantha P. Trans. I think you meant Atlantic Voyage. Michael, please, like what? Because
and
I'm still on the fence about this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chima.
and and of course, like when uh, everybody on the panel was was cornering this guy, speaking truth to him, like he he like he basically he's like he in a cocky way asked asked one of the hosts, "You're Hispanic, aren't you?"
Oh boy,
And
I
he could review the true colors there.
I really I don't want to believe that this person is really Nigerian. I don't, because like there's no way. That just sounds like straight Aboriginal. Because as well, they like to pretend to be other people, and they have like 1,000 accounts and stuff like that, and they will go as low as to imitate other people in order to get their point across, or to hop onto platforms and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I'm still kind of on the fence as to whether this person is Nigerian. But like I said, on the old server that we was on before, you also had that guy from Cameroon that was talking the same thing, and he was like really trying to legit imply that the slave trade either didn't happen, or like, you know the, trying to deny it or downplay it. Oh yeah, yeah, the Gullah Geechee are African, and the Gullah Geechee there's some relation to Barbados, and I want to say
Bahamas.
the Bahamas. Yeah, and the Bahamas. We have a connection there. I think that's from people being transported to Virginia and the Carolinas at one point.
Their
I actually
their
didn't know that.
dialect is even the same, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the thing, because I've heard some Gullah storytelling, and I hear certain things and the way that they speak, and it matches with how people speak in Barbados as well. But we have Ocean Yemi. How you doing?
Hi, I'm okay. I'm going to be on real quick, okay? Yeah, there is seem to be a denial of African because they're saying that how there was already Americans there, the ship doesn't the ships didn't make it and all this, and I have a problem with some of them because what they're going by, it's a bit like Rwanda. They're going by the hair, the nose, the facial shape, which doesn't mean nothing really, I think, because black African comes in all shades. Igbos are light brown, have light brown hue to their skin. They're very light. They look like St. Ants people, even. Also, with the Gullah Geechees, I did a video on them, and what I realized, yes, I did notice the Bajan chat too. I noticed that the other day, and also the food is similar because they made gonga peas
Mm.
and rice, and they made jollof rice on the on what I put up. So I don't know what is the denial thing going on. I really don't know. I don't know whether someone's implanted this. I know it's a division device going on, and yeah, that's all I want to say really. But thanks for having me on your platform.
No, no worries. Thank you for coming on. That's
Like,
that's a real that's a real question though. Like this how did this come to be? I can get it. Like I said, for the diaspora, it's like you have so much confusion and whatnot. But then continental Africans now. Like this has to be some kind of plant. There's
Oh
Yo,
yeah.
just no way.
Chima,
Yo.
remember when he was talking about the Papua New Guineans, like how
Oh
they might be
yeah.
Oh
related?
God.
Yeah. He was saying Papua New Guineans were African people,
I'm like,
but
what?
this guy doesn't pay attention to genetics and haplogroups.
They again, and like Oshinyemi said, it's having a it's just the look. Oh my God, you have a broad nose. I'm not trying to be funny. I was on the bus the other day, and there was this guy. You could tell he's from Southeast Asia, like maybe Filipino or something. And I was like, you have a broad nose and like thick lips. So I guess I'm thinking in my head like I guess you're black too. I guess that adds you to the black people collective, which is so ridiculous because yeah, they ignore genetics. All they do is look at skin. But then when I
It's
asked them, well, are Sri Lankans black people too, or are the Indians black people too? No, 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 they're different. They're different.
nah. It's all about lookership to these guys.
You don't make no sense. Oh, great, my phone's ringing. Give me 1 second.
Right. Yo, Chima, that guy was straight retardo mode, bro.
Tell me about it.
Jesus Christ, man! He came in
Like,
like he started well, and then after a while, he was just like, "All right, what is this
yeah.
about?"
Oh, and yeah, I was like, he's trying to say that slavery wasn't as bad as it
Wait,
say it
it's
was.
too early for scams, man.
How does it does it explain the condition of black people in the Western Hemisphere?
Oh, it's too early for these damn scam calls. These damn
Right.
Indian people calling me up for scams and shit. It's not even 10 a.m. It's literally coming to 10 a.m. Talking about,
Yeah.
hi, did you get into a car crash? No, I didn't.
Oh
Crazy,
yeah, I
right?
get. Oh
It's
yeah,
so
I hate
annoying.
that mess. Like either way, this thing kind of drains my energy, and I'm like, and I'm actually about to start my shift,
All
so
right.
I'll catch y'all later, right? And
All
if
right. Take care, Chima.
All right,
Good
take
luck
care.
on your shift.
all right, all right, see you later, right?
All right. Chima made a good point though. When it comes to draining your energy, and this is why I had to stop debating these people because the stupidity is so, they're like, I'm trying to think of like a comparison for those that have boxed before, and you have the dummy in the gym. It's like punching the dummy because the dummy's never gonna, they're never gonna get bloody. They're never gonna fall down. They're never gonna, they're not gonna run out of energy. They're like crash test dummies. These people, they take any and everything, and they're just resilient because of their stupidity. That's what makes them so resilient, and it is very, very draining. And Sanchez too. Oh, Shanyemi, is that Sanchez guy the flat Earth type of guy? I think that's the flat earther guy. These are people that you would see that frequent like the Sarnetta type of platforms and these sorts of things. How you doing? Enter the crisis. It's been ages. I haven't seen you in ages. They have a hate for Africans because they work hard in the US. It could be that I don't understand the origin fully of this thing. I think there's a lot of like self hatred as well. I think the hatred is a newer thing when it comes to like the working hard business. I think that's kind of a recent thing. At least it's been for me. Um, Hearing those sorts of reasons and these groups that I'm not going to mention that have sprung up lately, they literally tried to change the entire world's history because they don't want to accept the truth. Talking about yeah, and that's the thing. But you see, it's one thing for them to do it, and I'm going to say like, okay, it's the diaspora. I'm going to say that I don't expect any different, but it's when continental Africans are going to start picking up the mantle and talking about, yeah, uh, black people, or I don't know. I guess Africans, like, are we Africans? Are we not in their eyes? I don't know. But they're also indigenous to the Americas too. It's when continentals start taking up the mantelpiece for this, is where I'm like, whoa, 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 hold on a second, because this is not healthy and it's kind of dangerous what people are doing with that. Black Russians. It's ridiculous.
Oh my god.
Because
Also, by the way, you were talking about the like the groups that were springing up, like the natives were talking about it during the stream also. Like they were trying to figure out like where these things are coming from.
it really does make you question. I feel like they've been around, but all of a sudden they they're so prominent all of a sudden, and it's like, where the hell did this come from? No one is trying to change history. Not only do you learn about this in school, but it's shoved down your throat every year. No offense. What are you talking about? Oh, wait, let me reread this. No, no one is trying to change history. Not only do you learn about this in school, but are you talking about slavery? Because I mean, in the UK, yeah, you in the UK, Black History Month is even more of a joke. At least when I was in school, I don't know if it's improved now, but when I was in school, our Black History Month was basically U.S. history, slavery, of course. I could never recall any time that they ever spoke about the Caribbean or South America or Africa for that matter when it came to Black History Month when I was in school. So ours was even more of a joke because it really was not relevant to us whatsoever. Yeah, that's nice. There are Africans that have picked up this mantle of denying slavery, and it's just I don't understand like the danger of pushing something like this, especially when you're able to show without a shadow of a doubt of your links to Africa through various cultural elements and things like that. You know, the when you're taking that away from someone, like you're literally trying to debase people and take their culture from them and trying to turn it on their head, and you're basically trying to do the same thing that Europeans were somewhat successful in doing, which is to take people's identities away. And I would say that as continental Africans doing that, that's a very, very dangerous and unfair thing to do. You were
Yeah,
saying
like
that people are trying to change history. Yeah, they are. The Aboriginal, Indigitard, Wabo people, they are trying to change history. So go ahead, Michael.
yeah, like what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, he was talking about it from the sense of like, these are what these people believe, and I also believe it, but not so much like, he was trying to erase his own lineage, basically.
For like, in what way? Like, because he's not. I'm assuming that his parents come from Nigeria,
Yeah,
that they migrated.
he acknowledges that he's a Nigerian, but at the same time, it's like he's acknowledging that these other group of people might have been, I guess, might have been here this whole time. I don't get what he gains from that, honestly.
But where is he getting that from? By what? Just listening to these people babble on the internet.
Yeah, I'm assuming, honestly.
I don't know, boy. I mean, in a way, I'm glad that the Caribbean doesn't really get brought up in these conversations, and it's like a blessing and a curse in the sense where, all right, at least no one can really um deny us of our origins and stuff like that, and it would be very, very stupid and very hard to deny it in the Caribbean and in South America. But also at the same time, because we get left out of conversation so much, it's like people want to run with this rhetoric but completely forget about the whole other millions of people that were affected by said same transatlantic slave trade.
Right. Like, Jesus. I don't. The funny thing about that stream also was that I think he was asking. I'm not sure what the name of the host was, but he asked at the end, like, "Are you white or black?" I'm like, "Do you not see the name of the show? It's called American Indian Defense League. Why would he be white or black?"
See, because they do this thing where, okay, in their heads, if you're Mexican, you must be a Spaniard. There's no such thing as a mestizo. When people don't really understand what mestizos are, which is just European and indigenous mix. But they go, well, you're just a mestizo, you're just a Spaniard rape baby and all this shit that they say, therefore you're not qualified. But then you have the host Lakota guy, who's, if you Google him, like, you can see this guy is actual Native American. He doesn't, I mean, I don't know what a mixed Native American per se looks like, but he definitely looks like, a Native American person. But they just
They,
tried to do this, oh, you're too light, your hair is is too straight, you sound like a white man, therefore you're not qualified to speak. Just ignorant.
yeah, like even by the way that he speaks, I could tell that he's a native. It's just something about the way that they speak that I'm
They
like,
speak the language, for God's sake. People that watch the show, you've heard these people speak. And I remember I did this to Chief Holiday on my stream years ago. I said, well, what language if you're indigenous, where's your language? What's your language? And it was uh English. I said, no, 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 no. You speak dolphin clicks. The dolphin sound on SpongeBob, like the
yeah,
sound effect. That I just started playing that on my streams just back to back. Every time he would say something, I'm just playing dolphin sounds.
I remember that.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It really is. But my question that I said in the server earlier still stands. If Africans were going to the Americas, like, I guess, thousands of years ago, why is the culture so weak in comparison to other foreign cultures that made their way over to America, to the Americas? Why is that?
It's a good question, honestly, because even you look at Brazil, you can tell that there have been some Nigerians that have been there and clearly through the culture.
Brazilians even returned to Nigeria at some point, I think in the 1800s.
You see, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, yeah, there was a return, like a repatriation. I guess Liberia doesn't even exist. Sierra Leone is fake. It's like, I even Cape Verde, right?
Yeah.
And I remember I brought up Cape Verde before, and people want to deny. Okay, well then, how did they get to Cape Verde? Because there was no one there prior. I know a Cape Verde, and she told me the history. She was like, "Listen, there was nobody here prior to the Portuguese coming. They brought people there. Like, this is ridiculous. You want to deny the slave trade? I mean, you don't have to go that far. You have to go that far out. Cape Verde is an example.
Yeah, I think maybe it might be the story for some islands that surround us, but maybe not all of them. Like, I don't really know what the story of Sao Tome and Principe is. Like, I can barely find anything about it.
Yeah, I don't know too much about Sao Tome, but the Cape Verdean that I know, I think she said on her, I think her grandparents come from Sao Tome as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but also that's a former Portuguese colony, no?
Yes. Yes, I believe it is.
I swear it's quite baffling. I really think it's quite baffling. Like, it just does not make sense. That's the point of finding common ground by being an American and not only based on skin. Okay, I don't know what you mean by that, but all right. The only food native to America, Black Americans eat on almost daily basis is grits. All right, we call it hominy. I don't even like it. I think it's quite terrible, to be honest. It's not my favorite. They don't like the history of slavery. Well, I mean, and that's the thing. It's not about liking it. It just is what it is. I don't like the idea of my ancestors were being enslaved and being maltreated and forced to work for free under a whip and torture. I don't like the idea, but it is what it is. And what makes me laugh as well is, like, I've always heard, our history doesn't begin with slavery, and yet all they do is bring it to slavery.
Yeah, that's all they do.
That's what really kills me. Hold on, Malik, how you doing?
Please, how you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right. A bit annoyed, but
Yeah.
you. I mean, look, you're the perfect person to come onto this panel because you're cute. the Cuban, and you see they can't get past. You have, oh, I forgot the name of the chief that you have on your profile picture.
Hut, oh boy, Hatui. He was from the Dominican Republic, and then he went to Cuba, and he's Cuba's first national hero.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, the denial of indigenous people, the stealing their culture. But how do you feel about now continental Africans potentially taking up the mantelpiece and running with this wabotard nonsense?
I have only seen that with on Clubhouse with I believe they were Nigerian. Definitely West African that live in England saying
You're
this.
joking. In
No. I tell you a new one I saw the other day was a black American woman saying that she was Kemetan and she was Native American.
was she is she like a York type of person?
No, I asked
Is
her
that that sounds that sounds like a York type of
that. No, she is just like an abo that I think maybe she dibbled and dabbled with the Moors and just because you know that's where the whole abo thing comes from is from the Moors originally. That's the origin of it.
but you see that like the Moorish Science Temple, the
Hmm.
the original, was that being taught there? Because from the little bits that I've looked into, I haven't really
Hmm.
seen like with their original doctrine. I know it's a bunch of nonsense anyway, but I'm like, how did you go from that to what we have
Well,
today?
yeah, I would say yes because they teach that Noble Drew Ali was from North Carolina from the Cherokee Reservation, and that he was either Cherokee or half Cherokee. So then, you know, and then he was a in the circus. He was a magician,
So
and
we're
then he
supposed to have a
somehow,
circus magician as a prophet.
yeah, and then somehow he became an adept of in Kemet. Uh, it's like these stories. Oh man, you should join. You should join Clubhouse.
I was about to type in the chat. I'm not going to Clubhouse, and I'll tell you why. The first time that I heard about Clubhouse, because I'm on Discord, right? And there's
Mhm.
someone in our server, and he was telling us like about this Clubhouse thing months ago. He's like, yeah, the I was in this Clubhouse chat, right? And you got people throwing out money, you got scammers, you have these people crying about protect the black woman, and all this like these weird conversations where people like to hear themselves just speak. And I'm just like, I don't know if I could do that. Like if I can't mute you, I don't want to have any involvement. But it's like never anything good that I've heard on Clubhouse. It's just people. It's like imagine Twitter but verbal, and I don't even use Twitter no more. It's just a cesspool.
Kind of. I mean, but like I don't know how that. Um, I mainly stay with each one, and Team Osiris, and um, there's some other individuals. There's two, three, four now, four individuals with PhDs that roll with us.
Mm.
Were very disliked on there by the ABOs and ADOS, especially them groups. But we mainly just stick to ourselves. If there's other rooms that pop up, it depends on the topic. Like you don't have to partake in the conversation. If you do, and you're what they call they call it on stage. If you don't have a green icon, the green icon indicates you're a moderator. If you have the moderator, then you can kick people out and stuff. That's the only time you have control over that. Um, but for the most part, if someone's on there being stupid and disrespectful, they'll get kicked out. But I think personally, I think you would like it. I think you would have a lot of stuff to add to it.
I can't. I really like. I made a vow to myself years ago. I'm not gonna argue with these people. There's no argue because it's so dumb. It's really dumb. And like I said
Yeah,
earlier in the stream, when it comes to this conversation of being quote unquote aboriginal to the Americas, people like me and you don't anyone that's south of the US is usually excluded from the conversation. But like Michael said, we're an afterthought when we bring it up. Like, well, if you want to talk about this transatlantic slave trade, we were also very much affected by it. Then it's like, oh yeah, you guys too, kind of somewhat. Yeah, you guys were, but they don't know too much about because if you look into, I mean, forgot Cuba as a prime example
Mhm.
of syncretization of indigenous African and European cultures. You can't deny it. It's impossible to deny it. And then they can't
oh,
get
you
past
talking
it,
about
and it destroys their whole rhetoric. So go ahead.
you talking about bringing that to the abos?
Like talk like the conversation that Abos have about, quote unquote
Yeah.
black people being indigenous to the
Uh,
Americas, and then they want to
are you,
bring up slavery. You can't talk about the transatlantic slave trade without talking about the Caribbean and South America. It's not possible.
I mean, 100. That's yeah, absolutely. But here's the problem. The problem is, then you're going to meet an abo that's going to say Orishas are abo.
What?
Yes.
Nah,
You know.
nah, 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 nah.
Yeah.
You
Oh
you
yeah.
can't.
I've heard it. They got these kids. He got these people on there. I say their names in case they pop up on your channel. Just it's. I feel the same way you do. But the thing that makes me get into it with them and speak about it publicly is that in the states here, um, they're trying to pass laws to no longer speak about Black history, Indian history, women's history, and that's problematic because then it's almost like they're going to rewrite history. And so now, again, this is kind of like me saying you should definitely come on here because there are individuals with this abo agenda that they actually make flyers. This is how crazy it is, and I really believe that the whole abos ADOS. I believe it's COINTELPRO. I'm not a big conspiracy person, but I believe that the government is 1,000,000% behind this to
Oh, you chipped out. You chipped out.
will
Oh yeah, you chipped out.
and oh, you can't hear me?
Yeah, you kind of went a bit robot. I think you're driving, right?
Yeah, it's because I work in the Everglades. It's like jungle out here. Um, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can.
So I was saying that ADOS and the ABOs, I believe, is COINTELPRO. I believe that it was created to divide black people. I also believe that um, to not just divide black Americans, but Caribbean and continental Africans and even Africans in Europe, along with immigrants, period. And um, the ABOs create flyers, and they're inviting young, late teens and people in their 20s, and probably their 30s as well, and they're inviting them to Clubhouse. And when you go in an abo room, you're talking about several hundred people in there. So now you have several hundred black people listening to not just um, what's his face, not just the robot, the what's his name, Callaway, Canaway, something. Not just him, but they're listening to other people too. Um, and that is kind of the thing that made me stay aboard. And even though it's very annoying to have these same discussions over and over and over again, um, I really find that this is some really serious shit. Like this really isn't nothing lightweight. This is very serious. The amount of people that's buying into it, and then when you read people's profiles, it'll say, "Oh, I attended a historically black university." Well, how did you go to a historically black university and you believe that the transatlantic slave trade happened in reverse, or it didn't happen, or that you are the real indigenous person? You know what I mean? Like, what university did you teach? Now this raises the question: are historically black universities teaching this? Are there some courses that are actually teaching this? Because there's a lot of people in their profiles that claim they attended these universities. So this is something we're asking ourselves. Um, and it's just this is I put it to you like there's a very close friend of mine whom you know this person. He was like, oh, I think it's a waste of time. You guys are always getting into it with them. And I said, bro, I
Mm.
was like, this is some serious shit. And I broke down to him why it's so serious. I said, this is out of hand. And now you have young people that have no foundation in history or whatever, and now they're going to start believing it. And now this history could be accepted, and that's going to be that's bad. And so we don't see this again. We don't see this with Jewish people. We don't see this with Asians. You know, and other ethnic groups. Unfortunately, um, we're seeing this with Black Americans and some West Africans that are buying into it. I haven't seen or heard of any Caribbean people, but what I have seen is what I have seen is that this conversation is now opening the door where so-called Native Americans and so-called Latinos need to step up and get involved in this conversation with so-called African Americans who are stepping up and who are against this, because this whole abo thing is really disrespecting numerous ethnic groups' histories, and trying to rewrite their history and disrespecting the history along with their ancestors. So for me, I can't out of this one. I can't back out this one. I got to stay in the fight with this one because this shit is out of control.
I agree. It is out of control. It's just for me at this point, I'm like, you know what? It is so much easier for me to just focus on my own group. And I just want to say this, that guy Merc, I know you're a troll and I have an idea of who you are, but you're a Pan African I mean, you can try spelling it properly, but you're a Pan African, lol, and you're mad that Black American ain't with it. I really don't care about what Black Americans are doing in that sense. Like, I don't care. I'm not a Pan Africanist. I'm focused on the Caribbean. I've made that so many times. I've made this clear on my channel. Like I really am not concerned, but I'm glad to know that you care about what I think about Black Americans. I guess um,
Mm.
you probably sound like an Adosite parasite or whatever. Like I don't care. I really really don't care. We have more issues within our own group that we can focus on. What concern do I have of your group? None really whatsoever like that. I don't care. So I think you're the Snake Eyes 55 whatever guy that likes to call me Chinese and all this nonsense. What, because I'm honest about having a half Chinese granddad? That I don't care. That's cool. But let's escort you out because you're boring me now.
Wait, who's this person? What are they saying in the chat?
Oh, I don't know what they're talking about. Pan Africans are done. Psych, prove it. This Chino enter the crisis. Enter Chris. I don't know. They can't even type. Is Asian. No African culture. Like I mean, you have to laugh. You really do. You really have to laugh. And like I said, this is why it's just easier for me to focus on the Caribbean because it's like, you know what? We have so much within our own region that we can deal with. It's so much easier to just focus. This thing of like, I'm not really with this whole like we're all one per se anymore because it's just too problematic and you have all these different varying factors. There's no respect between the groups. So it's like, you know what? I'll just focus on this. I know for a fact that we're not quote unquote indigenous to the Americas, not Afro Caribbean people. We're just not. It's not that hard to see that. But let us just focus on our culture, and I feel like we kind of have to have a revival and an appreciation of our culture, and the things that we are burying. We need to unearth them, especially about the Orisha thing. Because I saw someone was talking about they're trying to say that the Orishas are white now, which is just okay.
What?
That's what it's just like okay.
Uh,
I mean, even for people that say that the Orishas are indigenous, like I'm gonna assume that all they think about is Santeria and Cuba, and they don't realize that the Orishas are spread even down to Trinidad. Like you have people that practice Orisha in places like Trinidad.
oh
This
yeah.
isn't just like a one island thing where they can then say, oh well, well look at Cuba and indigenous Cuba and they got the Orishas, therefore no, it doesn't work like that.
And the other thing too is that a lot of people think that if you have a statue, that statue is the Orisha, and that's not true. That's just it's represents the Orisha, but it means nothing. You can take it and break it across the wall. You know what I mean? Like nothing. It's bullshit. It's just a statue. It's what's inside in Lucami we call it sipero. So what's inside the sipero is the Orisha, and it's not a statue. It's the secrets of the Orisha.
See,
And
people talk on Orisha and they don't even know, and that's why I don't like to talk on it. I like to look at it and study it and kind of see where do I see this within my own culture, right? But you have
yeah,
people that don't know anything about Orisha, and it's not something that you can just Google it. You have to be in it to really understand what you're talking about. People outside of Orisha don't know what Orisha is. They don't, unless you were in it and then maybe you left it. But you can't as an outside lay person be like, oh well, I went on Wikipedia and I listened to, I don't know, so and so and they said this, that, and the third. You don't know anything.
yeah,
You'll never know unless you're in it. So I can't stand when people try and talk on what they don't know, and it's very annoying.
yeah. It's extremely annoying, and that's a whole other subject. But So I'm all right. So with you, uh, I'm taking it you've been through a lot of shit because your your position on things have changed.
Yeah, it really has. It's just I haven't really been through a lot per se. Like I would say that it's seeing these groups spring up and hearing these certain things. It's like it kind of
Mm.
I think slapped reality back into me because it made me think, okay, so we're dealing with this now. But then also just my own personal studies and like looking into things like in the Caribbean, it's like, hold on a second, why are we not looking at why are we not looking at this? Guys, we have all of this thing here. We don't need to be talking all this silly rhetoric. We don't need to be following behind this. Like we have a whole culture here that I don't think we appreciate so much. Why don't
Yeah.
we appreciate ourselves? And it's not about shitting on other people like these groups have this tendency to do, but it's about being proud about what we have and being proud within ourselves. Like I don't care about the outside at this point. We are who we are. We shouldn't be taking disrespect from anybody. Like you don't have a right to disrespect us. Hearing these superiority claims as well, which makes me laugh. Like we're the most supreme black people because everyone likes us. It's just like I find that really laughable. But it's just
Yeah.
like for me, it's about raising the self-esteem of Afro-Caribbean people for our benefit, not to shit on others, but to be proud of what we have. Because I'll say in the English-speaking parts, from my personal experience and from my island in particular, self-esteem is very, very low when it comes to being proud of who we are and where we come from.
Yeah, I would say I would say the result of that is, let's see, your family, you're from Barbados or the Bahamas, which one?
Barbados.
And that was an English colony, right?
Yeah, it was basically England's testing ground and where they had their
Yeah,
foot on people's necks the most.
yeah. They Barbados had the worst slavery in the Caribbean, the worst. And I understand what you're saying. Like when you look at the ramifications of what the people go through, you look at the people in their current state. Like, yeah, I've met Barbadians. They're very very nice people, and they're very humble, and it's like there's almost like a thing with some of them where um, they're very passive.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So you see it as well, and to me, that's an issue.
Yeah, yeah,
But that is obviously from
slavery.
centuries of yeah
Yeah,
slavery and the
stay
way
at your
that the
place.
British, right?
Stay at your place. Don't speak up.
Yeah,
Um, and you're gonna be my doormat.
yeah, and that's how
Yeah,
I see Bajans, and I've been saying it like Bajans are weak. They are weak. They are passive, and it's to their own detriment. And it's like they can't wake up from it. They're stuck in it, and I absolutely hate to see it because it doesn't have to be like that. And like with this whole Republic ordeal leading up to it, they were having like these conferences, right? And they had this one guy. I think he's island historian, and he'd basically given this great analogy of how basically because you had the strong heavy English influence there. Bajans were also the most educated slaves out of all slaves because of
yeah.
the strong English influence, and so essentially they are white brained and black skinned essentially, and it shouldn't have to be like that. There's no excuse for it anymore, and I feel like at this point in time, when it's convenient in Barbados, people will remember like, okay, well, yeah, we're of African descent, but we shouldn't be doing it out of convenience. Let's start taking some pride in who we are, acknowledging what's happened. It doesn't define us as people, and let's embrace who we actually are. And it doesn't have to mean that we shit on other people like other groups feel the need to do so. So let's just it's about self-esteem.
I just want to tell you, that, and because I mean I don't know when the last time you've been to the states, but that I know, you look at social media, right, and sometimes things can appear to be a way, and maybe they're not exactly that way. You would be surprised. There's a lot of people here um, in the black community. They don't like ADOS. They're like on they don't like the fact, how they disrespect other black people and immigrants. There's a lot of people who's in support of that. Um, so I say that to you, to not, um, give up hope and think that you don't have people here that's allies and stuff, because it's what I'm finding is when you listen to people like ADOS is that you know they sound like white people. They sound
No,
like white
they
people.
sound like Brexit. You know when Brexit was happening here, they parrot Brexiteer talking points to a T,
Mm,
especially when it comes to immigration, which is what makes me laugh. But the difference between them and a Brexiteer is that at least the Brexiteer has a land that they can claim as their own, and that to a degree they have more control and more power over it. But I'm not saying that like ADOS is, Americans and stuff like that. That's not what I'm saying. But my thing is seeing this group, and you know how things are online. People that are online are real people, but the naivety I think that we have sometimes, it is good in a sense. Like it woke me up into remembering, like, hold on a second, there are people that, we talk all this black thing when we're ready, but let's not be naive and kumbaya and this, that, and the third. But
mm.
it's about respect at the end of the day.
Yeah, it has to be that the kumbaya thing is romanticism, but there are there are people that want the unity, but it's probably not the same compared to those who don't want it. You know, um, but what I've also found about ADOS is a lot of these people who are speaking, they're not even ADOS members. That's first of all. So it's like they kind of they kind of sound stupid, um, speaking the way that they speak, or saying certain things they say. But ADOS also has changed some of its philosophies too. Not saying to be like, oh, it'd be cool with ADOS, no, but they've also changed some of the philosophies. It's also caused some people to leave it. Um, like I don't. When it comes to ADR saying black people in this country deserve reparations, I'm for that. I don't care, and I think that they should receive their reparation. That's not my big issue with them. Is just that they emulate white people with their rhetoric towards other black people and immigrants. That's my issue with them, and the fact that you want to call yourself um, descendants of slaves. Like that just sounds crazy. Africans were enslaved, but they're not slaves. Like they were put in a social climate, but there's more to that African than just being a slave. Like as if that's where, for them, they believe that's where their history begins, and that's the whole problem right there. It's like, oh, in order to be, because there's some Caribbean people here I've heard on Clubhouse that agree with ADOS.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And that to me is very concerning. That is my
Yeah,
concern. We shouldn't be getting involved in these sorts of issues and conversations, right? And like when it does come down to, if to me, I agree with you when it comes to referring to your ancestors as slaves, because I've heard people try to use the word sea dust, like Caribbean descendants of slaves. I don't agree with that. My ancestors were enslaved. They were not slaves. They weren't born slaves. They were people, right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
if that's what they want to do, fine. You go ahead and disrespect your ancestors. I'm not going to disrespect my ancestors, right? I'm not against people getting reparations. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't see reparations happening for anyone. I'm not holding my breath. But my issue is, like you said, it's the rhetoric. But what happens is, I feel like they use reparations as like a shield, where if you attack against their rhetoric, they go, oh, they hold up the reparations shield and say, oh, you're against us getting reparations. No, 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 no. That's not what I'm against. Oh, Ocean Yemi, I'm sorry, I didn't even get to you. I don't know if you want to jump back on. Let me drop the link. But yeah, they use that as like a shield, in my opinion, to for you to not be able to critique what they're saying and argue against what they're saying. But if you want to disrespect your ancestors, that's totally your business. That's on you. I'm not gonna do that to my ancestors. I just, I don't think that reparations is gonna happen for anybody. It is what it is. We have to, we have to move on.
Look, I feel the same. I'm not gonna lie. I feel the same way. Like even in Cuba, the Cuban people are trying to get reparations, right? Now, who are you? My question with them is like, you would need to get reparations first from Spain, and then you got to get reparations from America because after Spain colonized them, America colonized Cuba, and those people are not. They're not giving up no money. Like I was listening to this whole conversation about reparations the other day, and these politicians here are like you you have to prove that your family you have to have paper like proof like they're not just gonna say okay well you're black and you're in North America and your families were slaves. Like no, they want fucking paperwork on this shit.
Mm.
That's how difficult they make it. Now, how many people have like, oh, let me go in the attic and pull out that notebook about my great 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 grandma and grandfather. They were slaves. This is their name, and this is this. Like, the average person don't have that. And these slave masters, these colonizers, won't even give an apology. So they're not. They won't even give an apology. What makes you think that they're gonna give some type of reparation? And see, that's another problem I have with ADOS and ABOs, right? Is that when you listen to them, it's always talking about money. And see, it's not about money. It's about principle. It's about like if like somebody who's a real indigenous person, and they'll tell you they can't stand when people try to get their paperwork done to be an Indian
Oh,
because
what, the
that
casino money?
yeah, because that person's trying to get bread. Like my job, I work on a reservation, and the people who live there, the Mississippi people, yo, they get a lot of money per month. We're talking about 10,000 a month they get. Now the average person, they're gonna look, you know, I mean that's what the whole Abo thing is. The whole Abo thing from the rip was a scam to get that money and to try to get land. That's what it. That's I mean that's what it is. And for somebody in that situation who's really of those people, you're not doing it for land and money. You're doing it for justice. You're doing it for the principle. You're doing it for what your ancestors went through and what's owed to you. But not just to be like, oh, I'm doing this just to get some money. And when you listen to, if you go, especially on Clubhouse, you go in their room and listen to them, they're talking about, oh, to do this, to do this. And if you do this, you're going to get this money and you're going to get this. And it's always about money. That's what it boils down to is money, and it's the same thing with a lot of ADOS, money. And it's like, I just can't see the white man um, giving out all this money because now the question is, what about somebody who's I hate to use the word, but somebody who's considered a mulatto, do they get reparations? Does somebody down that lineage get reparations? What if what if that lineage got whitenized? So now, can a
Mm,
white person come forth and say, "My ancestors were enslaved; they were Africans"? I mean, it's
you make a
tricky.
good point. No, you make a good point. There are all these complexities, especially in the US when it comes to this type of thing. You know, it's well, I mean, all I can say, is people in the US, it's up to them. These types of groups and stuff like that, if that's what they want to boil it down to, is it's just about money and cash is enough to repay for what was happened to your ancestors, then you just have to leave them to it. That's my thing now, is just leave them to it. I know for a fact it's not enough. I've looked through CARICOM's 10-step reparations program. I think it's quite silly, to be honest, the things that they're asking for. I don't expect these people to do anything, because they're not sorry. Like you said, they won't even apologize. The British government, time after time after time, refuse to acknowledge, let alone apologize for what took place. So, we just have to do what we can do for ourselves, become better people for ourselves, and do the right thing. And if you want to talk about honoring your ancestors, then just do the right thing. Be good
Yeah,
people. That's what we need to focus on doing, not tearing other people down, not, you know, lying and falsifying history and disrespecting where you come from. But again, kind of going back to the continental Africans doing it, I just don't know what to say on that. I just think it's crazy. I think it's really insane that this could potentially become something. And people in the UK, like Africans in the UK saying that, I have to hear that for myself. I really have to hear that for myself.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll tell you, I'm gonna keep saying that you should join Clubhouse.
I really
I
don't
would,
want
I would so I want to hear you flip out one of those rooms. That shit would be so funny. I mean, I've had my moments where I flipped out in a room, and a few other people. Like I have a few people that I've gotten to know that are where you are in the UK. Um, they're Nigerian, and it's just hilarious. It's just crazy.
they have to be trolls. Like, they really do have to be trolls. I can't understand how you as a Nigerian could
Oh no, no,
even.
no. These are Nigerians I'm cool with that are against ADOS and
Oh,
Abo.
I thought you were saying it with
Yeah.
Nigerians in the UK that are pushing this Aboriginal stuff.
Oh no, that now that is true.
Oh,
On the other hand, yeah, there are. I don't know. I couldn't tell you their names and stuff, but I've encountered them in rooms. Just by their accent. Um, I mean, then you also. I'm gonna tell you another thing that you have on there. Another big thing you also have is a thing with Somalians. That's another thing that Somalians disliking West Africans or something like that.
yeah, I've heard about that. And Twitter is a
Yeah,
good place where I've seen it. They use this word, I can't pronounce it. It's like Jarir or something.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
yeah, I've seen that, and they call you like a Bantu slave and all this sorts of stuff. And that, at that point, I was kind of like, I'm just gonna leave this app because this is dumb. This is really
yeah,
really dumb, and I don't want to be a part of this.
yeah. I'm trying to pitch you this clubhouse. Let's
I'm
see.
not. Listen, I'm telling you, I'm safe. I'm safe on Discord. I can control my server. I go into other servers where it's reasonable. We can have respectful disagreements. Like, I'm not. Clubhouse, literally, it's gonna piss me off. It is gonna
Well,
piss me off. I'm gonna
uh,
flip out on somebody.
so the other thing on there when you leave that world, the other world on Clubhouse is bitcoins, and people trying to hustle, to how to become rich. There's that one, and that's where a lot of people get scammed. The other thing is there are people on there from um, the music industry, and those rooms can be interesting because um, some of the topics they have is pretty interesting. And then you you may have heard of these people or seen them on TV, and then you're in the room with them, and you realize, yo, this person is a fucking asshole. Like, there's a famous DJ out here named DJ Scratch. Um, he's an asshole. Uh, but like people like Tiffany Haddish, the actress,
Hmm.
she's on there. She's really nice. Like she's really laid back, and she'll be in a room with people. She doesn't let her celebrity stardom get to her head, and sometimes she'll pop up in a room unexpectedly because she has an interest in, I guess you could say, knowledge itself, like on various things. Um, she'll pop up in a room and just listen to what's being talked about. Um, and then there's one of my favorite, the whole marijuana thing that goes on with the connections to the cheaper world. So there's different things on there besides that that's worth the
You
time.
haven't you haven't sold me. I'm gonna tell you, I'm not sold. I'm not gonna go into Clubhouse. I've heard too many horror stories. The crybabies and stuff like that. And the scammers as well. I can't. I know there are different things, but it's like what I'm gonna go on there for like a particular purpose. Like I'm not interested in trying to listen to god, these damn Russian bots. Hold on, there's a Russian bot that's popped up in the chat that I can see, and I'm just gonna block it because they're annoying.
What's it, like a porn site?
It's like have you ever seen these weird website link things? Like if you upload a video and then like in 10 seconds there's already a comment on it, and it's like this weird Russian text and then a link
Yeah.
dot FYI or dot VOR or something like that.
Uh,
But now
um,
Clubhouse, it's a no. Discord all the way. Um, it's just at least with Discord, like I said, it's there's more control over it, and plus as well, you can let people in your space and remove them as you want. By the way, guys, join my Discord server. If like I said, it's Caribbean House Discord server. I'm sorry, I did have to kind of put a ban on Americans coming in because you had too many people coming in there disrespecting Caribbean people off the bat, and I'm not putting up with it.
Gee, what have I missed? I missed a lot with you.
Yeah, because I've been on Discord.
Jeez.
The stuff that I've seen on Discord, the shit that people say, it's just like I can't. But when you try to allow people in, I try to be as inclusive as possible. But I'm sorry, you're not gonna come in calling us all kind of bleachers, coons, this, that, and the third. We're backwards. We want to be like everyone else. Nah, it's not cool. It's not cool. I tried to keep my servers like a learning space, especially because like over here we only have select like groups of islanders and stuff like that. Over here you don't really get like Haitian people and stuff there. We have a whole bunch of Haitians. I'm trying to learn, foster good relationships, learn with people. I
So
can't
would
have
you say
disrespect.
the most of the people who view your channel, would you say they're in the UK, or
I have no idea.
because there's a way that you can go and look at on YouTube to look at your information about your channel. Like I haven't done a show in months because of my work. I work 7 days a week now,
Mm.
so it's like difficult for me to do that. But there's a thing on there where you can see who views like a percentage of um, countries. So like when I looked at mine, uh, besides the United States, the UK and Jamaica were the only two countries that were big watching my show. Um, and then for some reason, I found this weird. I did a show where I played a Bob Marley song, and it was blocked in Jamaica.
Yeah, it's probably that copyright thing.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
But
YouTube with all these bots and stuff, you can't do nothing. You can't play music. You can't play videos. Like you have to find all these workarounds. Otherwise, they'll just take your content down.
mm, I mean, I like. I want to come to the UK. I like. From what I see online, I like. I like the UK. I think I would like the UK better than America, to be honest.
I mean, it's just a small scale America, but nowhere near as uh intense, I guess. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, I would always prefer here than the US. Like US is just it's like London on steroids for me, and I can't really take too much of it.
Mm.
And plus, like I mean, New York anyway. I don't know. The dairy tastes funny. The subway smells like vomit. It's not really the best.
You know, it's funny when I moved to Florida. Um, the chicken here does not taste the same as up north, and I don't like how the chicken tastes here. So, like, if I went to a restaurant, I could eat the chicken, but like if you're talking about home cooked food, the chicken just don't taste the same. I hate like I don't want to eat chicken.
Probably because it's got something in it, and I couldn't really put my tongue on like what it was. But
Mm.
there's something at least about the dairy. Like here, it just tastes fresh and I guess pure. But then compared to the states, like it just this taste that I'm not sure of what it is. Like this aftertaste, it was very weird, and it made me not want to really have any kind of dairy. And I like dairy. You shouldn't have too much dairy, but I like to have dairy, and if I have to worry about what's in it, then I don't really want to. And plus, as well, the food standards are different. Like the FDA will approve stuff that's not actually what it says it is. So there's that. At least in the UK for now, anyway. The standards are still pretty high. European Union. Thank you for that, at least. Yeah, Michael. Loads of chemicals and like even juice didn't taste the same. Juice tasted a bit fake. I bought juice in Whole Foods and that tasted fake. I was like, damn, if Whole Foods ain't safe, then I don't know what is. Malik, I don't know if you're saying something, but there's noise kind of coming in, like a small static. Ocean Yemi, I don't know if you're still here, but I'm gonna drop the link for you just in case you want to hop on. And I've also got an Amazon delivery which is about to come, so I'm gonna have to literally get up for like hopefully less than a minute and quickly go and get my delivery. I drank juice and it tasted bitter. I look on the back and it's 96 grams of sugar. Jesus Christ. 96 grams of sugar. See, that's the thing, because when you look on the back of the I found when I was in the States and I look at the back of like drinks and stuff like that, there are way too many things in the ingredients list. But here it's just, like it'll just be like 100% pressed orange juice, and that's it. It's just orange juice, or it's just apple juice. That's all that it is. There's no like additives. There's no syrup. Nothing. I don't know. I've dropped the link for Ocean Yemi if she wants to come on. Oh, hold on. This Amazon delivery has just arrived. Give me like 2 seconds. Let me go get my delivery. All right, I'm back. Hopefully it didn't take too long. Yeah, stuff out in the States, I couldn't live there really because I'd be too scared about what I'm gonna eat, you know. Plus all the stress, like I'd rather just go back home where it's calmer at least. You have your family there. Then again, I have family in the States, but most of more than 95% of my family live back home, so I'd rather just go there. But I don't know if anyone else wants to jump on the panel or I can end it here. But yeah, that's about it really. But yeah, it is nice, Michael, to be able to like drink juice and just know that it's fruit and nothing else. Like I'm really, really particular about these sorts of things now. You don't even really be having to spend a lot of money. Like I noticed in the States, if you wanted to get like, an actual legit fruit product, it costs you more money. Here it's not really that much money. You can get like fresh fruit and vegetables and stuff. It costs you pennies, literally costs you pennies. You can get these things for. But yeah, I mean UK is all right, but London's extremely, extremely expensive. Um, there's no really buying. I don't really feel like there's like buying a house anymore. You can buy flats and stuff like that, and they've now made these programs where they can make it easier for you to own like a flat and things like that if you're a young person. I don't eat a lot in the US. I keep the portions small. Yeah, I mean that's the thing, and that's what really shocked me is seeing the size of the portions when I went to what do you call it, Olive Garden, which is a very, very terrible place, and I wish that they would never advertise that like on TV sitcoms and stuff, like it's the place to go because it's terrible. But seeing those portions and stuff like in Olive Garden, massive. And I'm looking around. I never forget because I went to the first one I went to was in Queens. I think it was in Jamaica, Queens, and everyone was just eating. And I'm looking around and I'm seeing these massive plates smothered with food, like all the way to the rim, and people are just eating. I'm like, how the hell do they eat so much like that? And then they brought me my starter, which was in this big plate. It was a shrimp scampi full of shrimp, and it's like, how do you expect me to eat that and then eat a main course? My main course was terrible. Again, the dairy, it just tasted really funny. I couldn't really eat it. I think I must have had like maybe 2 or 3 bites, and that was it. I couldn't really eat too much. Only when I went to Brooklyn where I could get some Caribbean food where it's more familiar to me, and it's like, okay, I'll eat this, and it tasted, normal in comparison to what I had. My auntie was shocked by the portions. Yeah, I bet. Even first thing that we did, right? First, because I went with friends. Um, we we landed at JFK. Took forever and ever to get through TSA. Left the hotel and we went to there's McDonald's right on Times Square, and the McDonald's, the large cups out there, like their larges, we don't have that in this country. Our larges are their mediums. That's what really scared me. So when I asked for a large drink, it was like a bucket. It was like a bucket, literally as big as my forearm. And it's like I don't understand how people can consume that much. But that's just normal out there. And it's just normal. Me, I can't do it. I did get fat while I was in the States. Had to walk off a lot of the weight in 10 days. Then again, I was eating a lot, but it's because there's food everywhere. You come out, the halal cart is there. You get your chicken over rice or your lamb over rice. You have pizza everywhere, and you're on a break, so it's like, why not? My mom be like, "What do Americans like to do? Eat." Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's everywhere though. You have so much competing chains and franchises, and as well, they make things really, really cheap. Because I've heard as well in the States, some people say like it's cheaper for you to actually buy fast food than it is to buy fresh food. I don't know if that's true. Don't know if anyone can verify that. I'll put the link out one more time. And if we don't get anyone, I'm going to end it here and I'm going to go back to the safety of Discord. I'm not going on Clubhouse. Sorry, Malik. I'm not sold on Clubhouse. I've heard too much. Like it's just I can't with the crying, the see the whole protect the black woman crybaby movement. I wouldn't gel very well in that. Oh, it is true. And that's kind of sad when you think about it, that cheap, unhealthy food is cheaper than getting proper nutrition. I would say here it's the opposite. You end up spending more eating out than you would getting fresh food. So I prefer to cook. I do like to order out, don't get me wrong, but it's cheaper to cook. You save more money. You can get like a big bag of rice that'll last you for weeks for about £5.50. Chicken isn't really that expensive. Goat meat isn't really that expensive. You make it stretch. Plus, you don't always have to eat meat. So there's that. But I think I'm going to end it here because no one's clicked the link. But no, I really appreciate you guys coming through. Thank you to Ocean Yemi, even though you weren't able to speak. I'm really sorry. No, actually, you did speak earlier, but you came back a second time. Thank you to Malik as well joining. Haven't spoken to Malik in ages. Thank you to Canada rejected US dairy years ago. Yeah, I bet. I'm sure Canada's more like the UK. Thank you to Michael and Chima for joining. Thank you to I'm trying to remember who was in the chat. Thank you to That's Nice, Mr. Uganda, Jug Season, Samantha P. So I'm just scrolling up. Samantha P. And I think that was everyone that joined. But yeah, and Mr. Uganda as well. I can't remember if I mentioned your name, but thank you to Mr. Uganda. You guys subscribe to his channel. Check out his content as well. And yeah, join my Discord server. That's about it. Have a good day.